Yeah, exactly. So Tim Walz posted this little snippet, a little video with Harris the other day, making what is very, very clearly a joke. Can you believe it, Zach? A joke. Quite the mind-blowing campaign move over here.
It's funny because I thought that the left had outlawed humor. I thought that they had completely banned it. In fact, I thought that was one of Kamala Harris's chief campaign promises, was that she was going to make it illegal to do comedy. And that's why the great heroes of our time all happen to be freedom, truth-fighting comedians, stand-up comics, our last stand between us and theocracy and democratic throne clutching.
Yeah, this is a interesting video, first of all, even before we get into the stupid culture war aspect of things. Let's take a look at the original text over here from Mr. Tim Walz. Like I said, posted this on Twitter the other day. Let's see what's up. He says, listen, I'm not much of a spice guy. Of course, continuing to play into the fact that he's about as standard American white dude as you could get. Let's take a look.
Like I have white guy tacos and
what is
like
that?
Black,
like mayonnaise and tuna? What are you doing?
Pretty much ground beef and cheese.
That's okay. Do you put any flavor in it?
No. Here's the deal. No, they said to be careful and let her know.
That's the best part. Do you put any flavor in it? No. Black pepper's about the top of the spice chart here in old Minnesota. It's so wholesome. It's endearing. Obviously, it's like I posted a GIF of the NBA coach going like, because here in the Midwest, down in Kansas City, we have what's known as the KC Taco Trail. We are constantly rebuking the notion that people in the Midwest do not have great Mexican food. I think Gavin and I would say we've been fortunate. We've traveled around this country a lot. I won't say that we're putting up numbers like LA or San Diego or even like San Antonio or Austin, but we have some damn good Mexican food here in the Midwest in Kansas City.
For a non-border state, yeah, it's pretty good stuff.
Yeah, like we have this one guy, he sells like half chickens. All he does is sell half and whole chickens on a grill, right? It's called El Pollo Rey. You know what I mean? That's the kind of shit that you only get when you have like a real, Latino population. You know what I mean? Anyway, They probably don't have too much of that up in Minnesota, or they didn't for much of Tim Walz's life. We're going to hope that the White House, broadens his horizons. He seems open to it. He's ready to, get the, 5-star dining treatment. Okay, let's roll out the tablecloth. Let's give this guy, some stuff that's going to really blow his mind. He could try some Afro-Caribbean cuisine. You know what I mean?
Well, you're not wrong, Zach. There is obviously, at least in Kansas City, a lot of, delicious, authentic Mexican food, specifically in Kansas City, Kansas. But I do find this relatable because even here in Kansas City, Missouri, there actually is a pretty robust tradition of essentially white people tacos. And, if you go like up north, for example, there's really popular deep fried tacos. And then they put the cheese powder on top, specifically In a Tub. You'll get a deep fried taco, and they put like just bright orange cheese powder all over the top. And it does kind of work. If you grew up eating it, you probably have nostalgia for it. In a Tub is the specific place I have a lot of nostalgia for. My mom grew up eating their tacos, and then I, also grew up eating their tacos. My grandpa loves that shit. So there definitely is this kind of Midwestern tradition of like the whitest taco you've ever seen. And it's almost like not even Mexican food. It basically is just like a middle, like a Midwest specialty.
Midwest Mex. You know what I mean?
Exactly.
And it's true, actually. It's funny you bring that up. Gavin and I, a lot of times after the show, we'll go to this brewery called Torn Label, right? Well, these cats called Tacos Valentina, they're the real deal. They do a taco pop-up from the back of there. They import the maize from Mexico, mill their own corn for tortillas. They do it all. It's amazing, amazing tacos. Their suadero is like some of the best I've ever had. But one thing they do put on the menu is they call it the KC taco, and it's just a dead ass ground beef taco with cheese and lettuce and like sour cream and a little pico on top. And I guarantee you it's their best seller there. I guarantee you it's the best seller. Is it the best taco? Absolutely not. But I guarantee you they move. And I'm always shocked. I'm like, I'll go there on industry night and there's motherfuckers getting like 3 KC tacos. I'm like, bro, you work at a restaurant. That's pretty good. Like, you know what I mean?
Yeah, it's kind of one of those things like, the crab rangoon or like the Chinese American food that's not at all authentic, but it has its own place in our culinary landscape. Sometimes you do want the sweet and sour chicken with the crab rangoon and the egg roll instead of a truly authentic Chinese meal. Obviously, they're both great, but in the same way, what Tim Walz is speaking to is that Midwestern tradition for sure.
If you take a cheap shot at the Midwest, you're getting the dunce cap. I haven't busted out the dunce cap. A lot of you guys might not be familiar with what happens if you have to wear the dunce cap. It means you're silent for the live stream. You can try again tomorrow. But if you call it the Midwest, boom, that was lazy. I'm sorry, I had to take that guy out, Travis. Your name's Travis, and you want to take shots about the Midwest? Okay, come back a little bit.
That is kind of funny. The Midwest. LOL.
Yeah, it's like we only banned you because it hurt a little bit. You know what I mean? It was kind of like that guy that was like, Zach better bring a really long sign if he wants anybody to see him at the rally. I was like, that was pretty good. That was pretty good. I saw that one. Anyway, let's take in the rest of this.
Yeah, let's take this back.
No. Here's the deal. No, they said to be careful and let her know that black pepper is the top of the spice level in Minnesota,
I'm the first vice president, I believe, who has ever grown chili peppers.
I'm trying to expand
We'll
my
figure that-
my food knowledge.
We've got some cantaloupes. You'll be fine.
Yeah.
Oh man, it's so hilarious too. I thought it was wholesome. I thought it was fun. I thought it was relatable. I think there's tons of people who are going to see that and they're going to be like, wow, he's just like me. There's an authenticity element to it. He doesn't have to go on and put on a show for anybody. He's just arriving as the guy he is. And there's so much to that as a politician because we haven't seen it in so long. You know what I mean? I feel like the regular guy factor is going to carry this ticket really far.
Yep. And honestly, I'm not just impressed by Tim in that video, but I actually think Kamala came off as authentic too. Like on paper, this little sketch, this video, I don't know if it was planned or scripted or if it really was off the cuff. Either way, on paper, I could kind of see it coming off as really cringe. Like imagine Hillary Clinton and Tim Kaine trying to do this routine.
Well, she did the exact opposite, right? She just cosplayed and said, I carry hot sauce in my purse when she obviously didn't. Right. She was just addressing a black crowd.
That's so true.
Come across this tone deaf and LARPy and just like the worst, like Michael Scott being like, oh, I'm prison Mike. Like that's exactly how it came across. Whereas this is the opposite. And I agree. Kamala Harris comes across as really wholesome and nice. She's like, oh, that's okay. Like, I'm not judging you.
Yeah. Yeah, but she's also poking fun and saying like, "What do you eat? Tuna and mayonnaise." Like it is funny, but again, it doesn't come off like pandering. I feel like if Hillary had tried to do this, it would have come off as like Pokemon go to the polls kind of thing. Like we're gonna try to make a funny internet-esque meme joke. Like it would have been lame, but I do think they pulled it off, which makes it all the more funny. The fact that right-wingers have immediately and predictably already started melting down. So here's Ben Shapiro. Let's take a look at this banger, guys, from Ben Shapiro. He says, see, folks, it's funny that white people hate spices. Not racist at all, just funny. Fact check. Europeans liked spices so much that they literally got involved in several hundred years of war in order to determine control of the spice trade. Yeah, that's just like colonialism, and they probably cared more about the profits than they did the flavor of the freaking spice. But what a freaking SJW-esque response. You know what I'm saying? Complete with the fact check.
Putting the warrior back in SJW. We actually did ethnic cleansing worldwide for these spices. Nobody likes spices as much as I like spices. In fact, I made my ancestors bound and fucking tortured these poor individuals. We cut off their hands if they wouldn't give us the spices. That's how bad we wanted them. You think you've got the itch? Read about the 14th century spice trade. All right, you ever heard of Marco Polo? Yeah, read about that fucker. Okay. Anyway. Yeah. It was a brutal time back then, but we also have got the Matt Walsh one, which I thought was also fucking hilarious.
Oh yeah, let's find that. But anyway, pretty funny to see Ben Shapiro and the rest of these people just totally becoming the pearl clutching, identity politics obsessed culture warriors that they pretended to hate.
Here, I've
for
got
all this time.
Matt Walsh one right
nice.
Here for us to react to. Crazy that a presidential candidate just gets to casually let out some blatant anti-white racism and nobody cares. Imagine if Donald Trump said that a black guy taco was made with fried chicken and watermelon. Nuclear meltdown. Now, what's so funny to me is that Donald Trump did famously to patch up his relationship with the Hispanic voter base that he called rapists, criminals that were all, desperately coming over our border to destroy our country. You guys remember that? Then he takes a Cinco de Mayo a picture in front of a taco salad, and he's like, at Trump Tower, we love our Hispanics. He was like, they make tasty treats like this taco salad, and he's like sitting in front of it with the favorite thing. It's like, dude, Donald Trump has done so much ridiculously racist shit. You almost can't even make a mockery of it anymore.
Yeah, so true. And obviously Matt Walsh's point is completely ridiculous, saying that this is in any way similar to evoking incredibly despicably racist stereotypes about black people liking fried chicken and watermelon. Like, that's just, I think even your most conservative white guy understands that there's just a fundamental difference between like poking fun at white people liking mayonnaise versus like, again, evoking genuinely racist, terrible tropes about black people that come from a really vile history, right, of slavery and oppression. It's just different. It's like if someone called you a gringo and then you're like, oh, does that mean now I can say the N-word? It's like, no, that's not what that means. Or if someone called you a cracker, and you're like, oh, you're being racist, so now I get to say the N-word? No, that's not what that means. You can deal with it. No one cares about your feelings being hurt as a white person. Obviously, I mean, yeah, technically it's possible to discriminate against white people or to be racist towards a white person. But when we're talking about these like tiny little jokes and stuff like that, it's completely ridiculous to pearl clutch about it and act like it's actual, an actual expression of like bigotry or something.
Well, it's just, again, it doubles down on Tim Walz's point that these guys just don't know how to be normal. They don't know how to have like good, clean jest amongst friends, right? Like there's a way to like poke fun at people because of their background, right, in a way that's like super friendly and fun
and self-deprecating in this case.
Exactly, right. And it was normal, and it was a fun, natural exchange between two people that you could have imagined would have happened between like two teachers that work at a school or something. You know what I mean? One's a little older, the other one's a little younger, but they're trying to relate to each other at a little event. You know what I mean? It just seems like how regular people operate with one another. And the other thing that this really pulled out of my mind hole, Gavin, was, do you remember our senior year of high school? You probably don't because you're a vegetarian, but Taco Bell made the fried chicken taco where the fried chicken was the shell. And
I do remember that.
The most disgusting things I've ever eaten in my entire life. Just unlocked that memory. Anyway,
that's what Tim Walz should have said he prefers.
Yeah, exactly. That's the true Midwestern expression, right? The deep fried taco from Taco Bell, where not only was, if I'm not mistaken, not only was there fried chicken on the outside, but the protein on the inside was like strips of bacon. Okay, so it's just an abomination across the board. And I remember one time I was really high. I was like way too high to go back into my mom's house, right? After we'd gotten done hanging out. And so I went to the Taco Bell that was right by the hen house, okay? Mm-hmm. And I got 2 of those and I ate them. And then I like slept in my car for like an hour and a half before I drove home.
Yeah, dude, the last time I was at Taco Bell, I saw they have like some Cheez-It Taco Bell, like a Cheez-It Taco Bell shell. Have you seen that?
I haven't seen that, but I haven't been going to get fast food in a long time because I'm like, I know it's so bad for you. It's like, fucking, oh my God, it's so bad for your body. I feel like shit after I eat it. But if they have a Cheez-It taco item at Taco Bell, I might have to venture back out.
I thought it was, I was like, the Doritos Taco Bell thing, that made sense because like Doritos are kind of like Mexican coated, but Cheez-Its, like, there's nothing like Mexican about it.
Are Doritos Mexican coated?
I mean, yeah, they're like tortilla chips,
I guess
just with like, they're like chips that you would dip in salsa, just covered in powder.
I didn't ever realize that.
The original Doritos were just like tortilla chips. Like, you can still buy them technically, they're just not as widely available, but the original Doritos were just
like eating Fritos that aren't flavored. It's like, why the fuck would you do that? I guess if you're putting it in chili, you're making a walking taco with it. Anyway, this isn't what the people signed up to hear about. Anyway, the right wing just can't be normal. They have to melt down over the damn things. But anyway, did you have anything else to add on that one, Gavin?
Not really, other than this one other hilarious attempt at like a gotcha or a hypocrisy burn or fact check or whatever at Tim Walz. Some people are saying that despite the fact he made a joke about not liking spice, technically one time in Minnesota, he won a recipe contest for a dish that included, paprika and chili powder. So this is actually proof that he was lying and just being racist towards white people. And when he himself made a recipe, an award-winning recipe that contained spices.
They're showing you a recipe that includes a bag of frozen tater tots, and they want you to believe that this guy was LARPing about being a Midwesterner who hates spice. If you're grasping at straws, you're talking about paprika and what this guy probably had, like best value brand chili powder. Do you know the spice level in that? It might as well make you sneeze. That's what that's all it's gonna be. He has mild green chili peppers and black olives, okay, in the same ratio in whatever abomination casserole that fucker was making. I guarantee you he brought it and peeled off the aluminum foil and brought it out, and he was like, yep, it's not your standard tot with ketchup on top for the casserole. This time we're getting fancy. We're going south of the border. It's Cinco de Mayo casserole. It's a spicy, and you're just like, oh my god. It's hilarious. They're grasping at such incredible straws.
And to act like this joke is in any way some sort of reflection of like white guilt, so stupid. It's a reflection of reality. Let's be honest. Midwestern white people specifically oftentimes do have really bland taste in food. Like I remember when I graduated high school, I had my little graduation party for my family at like my favorite Indian restaurant locally, and almost all my family members, no shame or no shade to them, no judgment, but they were all like bamboozled. They thought we were eating some exotic cuisine. They were like, what is this going to give me heartburn? And like, the most classic stereotypical Midwestern white response to food that wasn't even that spicy. Like, I'm pretty sure we ordered everything at like mild spice, anticipating these people's palates. But they still were like, what is it? What, this is crazy. Not everyone in my family, but some of my cousins and uncles and stuff like that. You know what I'm saying? This is a very accurate observation to make about Midwestern white people specifically. It's just true. A lot of them don't love spice. And again, there's nothing wrong with that. You could be out there and all you like to eat is chicken fingers and potato salad. There's nothing wrong with that. It's fine.
I want to meet that guy. I don't eat anything but chicken fingers and potato salad.
But yeah, like, don't feel bad about it if you don't like spice. You don't need to like go force yourself to eat a freaking Thai hot dish or something just to feel better. Like everyone has their own taste in food.
If you've never prayed to any god that exists after eating a bowl of Thai hot curry, you haven't lived.